All right. What's going on, nerds around the world? Hello, and welcome to another episode of Nerds United One podcast. I'm CMO, your host tonight, and we'll be have another fantastic show for you. Absolutely, and this is another particular episode. Where we have another battle of the Titans, two pop culture icons that have reigned for decades. And to help me out with that, tonight I have a great panel because, of course, you know these guys from the show. They've been on the show for quite time now. First, we have from Geese South, Mike Gulick. Mike, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys. Hey, it's the usual suspects back again.
Mm-hmm. We're the only suspects.
Yeah, we didn't shoot anybody. I'm just kidding. Okay, yeah. And also we have Colton Hunt. Colton, what's going on, man?
The name's Hunt. Colton Hunt. Oh, you just introduced me. Never mind. That joke doesn't work anymore. I'm glad to be back, and despite my joke about us being the only suspects, I still like doing the show.
Of course, we love having you on. Of course, I'll be happy. I love having you as well. Okay, I mean, the very subtle allusion Colton alluded to any very subtle allusion Colton alluded to. And during just a moment ago, saying his name is Colton Hunt. Is that a James Bond reference? I mean, of course, that's a James Bond reference. And why will we? And why is he using a James Bond reference? Because we have James Bond facing off against a great pop culture icon who's equally as cool and as badass and as rough, tough, and brave as you can be. Somebody who cracks a whip and has a fedora and like Indiana Jones travels around the world to exotic locations, and that man is Indiana Jones, who faced off, with Han Solo last week on our show. So Indy and James will be duking it out tonight to see who is the cooler character. Definitely, and of course, the James Bond franchise goes back to 1962. Dr. No was the first in the franchise. With Sean Connery became a huge hit, launched one of the most popular and durable franchises in movie history. And you figure there was no one who could, everyone enjoyed this cool, suave, brave, deadly, dangerous cat, with a license to kill, traveling to exotic locations, beating up nefarious villains, and hooking up with lots of beautiful women. Then there's Indiana Jones, who made his debut in 1981 with Raiders of the Lost Ark, directed by Steven Spielberg, and played marvelously to a T by Harrison Ford. It was this great, cool new character, the bullwhip and the hat and the leather jacket. An icon was born, and of course he has launched himself into the stratosphere as one of the great characters to exist in fiction alongside James Bond. You will be talking about that. First topic we'll be talking about is the character personalities. With Indiana Jones, he's pretty much a scholar, of archaeology. This is the guy, one of the characters described in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, professor of the occult, professor archaeology, expert on the occult, and obtainer of rare antiquities. Masters, he learned several different languages. Quite adept with a bullwhip, pretty much. Pretty much intelligent, intelligent, thoughtful, and brave, and rugged, and devil may care like character, definitely. He does definitely. It's not. What attracts to me about Indy is his love for history. He wants to learn about the past. He wants to learn about what happened in Egypt and so forth and so on, and goes to these different locations around the world. What I like about the Indiana Jones, it really matches together bronze with brain. Pretty much whenever he's going rough and tumble with Nazis and wherever he's going after antiquities, and having to learn something along the journey and so forth and so on. Then you have James Bond, a spy, packed with a license to kill, cool, suave, deadly and lethal with a hand pistol. Likes his vodka and martini shaken, not stirred, and quite a catch with the opposite sex. Well, who doesn't want to happen? Who doesn't want to? Who doesn't want to be like these? I guess these two are basically wish fulfillment characters. Maybe people would lean towards James Bond, but I gotta say I love both because I want to travel the world like Indy. I want to go out and find artifacts. I want to be able to fight the Nazis from getting their hands on them. Whatever nefarious force seeks to obtain whatever artifacts for very evil purposes. And also be like James, be like Bond. Fought off against twisted nemesis like Blofeld or Goldfinger or Silver, and whoever he intends to match up with, and the cars, the gadgets, everything like that. It's just who doesn't want to be one of these characters? You'd be a fool to dislike these characters. For me, it's a tie. I mean, I just love both of these characters. I mean, there's just no competition in terms of their personalities. All right, Mike, what about you? Who do you lean toward more?
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I love both characters. They're both incredible. I mean, Indiana Jones has been played to perfection by Harrison Ford. His adventures are always thrilling. He's, like you said, he's a lover of antiquities. He's a hunter of ancient treasures, and I love history, so that really suits for me. But I do lean a little bit more towards Bond, mainly because Bond has been with me a lot longer. At least for me. I mean, growing up, I remember seeing Bond a lot sooner before I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, I remember seeing Goldfinger. I remember seeing Thunderball. I mean, I went out and visited my uncle and aunt out in Seattle one time when I was 15, and they had a whole row of James Bond movies on VHS, and I spent practically a whole day just watching those because I had never seen that many James Bond movies before, and now I've got the entire set on Blu-ray.
Still had to get that 50th anniversary.
Oh, that's what I got. I got that for Christmas a couple of years ago, actually. It is one of my prized possessions, and I also have the complete Indiana Jones collection up there. But for me, I mean, as a character, Bond really didn't have a whole lot of depth to him, except for in On Her Majesty's Secret Service with George Lazenby. That one gave him a lot of character development. But other than that, I mean, Sean Connery never really had. I mean, he was really cool, and I love Sean Connery. He's probably my favorite Bond. But there was never really a whole lot more to him than what you saw. Roger Moore, there's barely anything to him, even what you saw. Tim Felton, meh. Pierce Brosnan, I liked him a lot. I mean, the first Bond movie I saw in theaters was GoldenEye.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean, when you got Daniel Craig in Casino Royale, that was a whole new Bond. That was a Bond with layers to him. That was a Bond with depth, with character development. It was amazing. So as a character, before Casino Royale, I probably would have given the edge easily to Indiana Jones. But with the depth that Daniel Craig's performance brought to him, I mean, in addition to just me tending to favor Bond a little bit more, I would give the edge as a whole character. I kind of like the Daniel Craig Bond a little bit more as well.
Fair enough. But for me, it was quite a struggle. It was hard to choose these two because they both have such a gravity to their personalities.
Absolutely, yeah. You're not wrong either way.
It was almost like killing me inside almost because they're so cool. right, Colton, what about you? Who do you lean towards, towards the person?
That's a good question. I mean, like Mike said, there wasn't exactly a whole lot to the James Bond character, so to speak. I mean, I think there was more to him. I think he did have layers before Daniel Craig took over, but it was more. But it was. I think the reason why Craig stands out more is that his layers actually stuck with the character. Like beforehand, though, James Bond was pretty much frequently a victim to status quo's God, except when it's not, where he could usually fall victim to something very heartwarming or emotional, but it usually didn't really stick with him for more than maybe a few films or so, like when or for like more than one movie or so, like when he lost his wife, spoiler alert, in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. While that is something that stuck with Bond for a while, it never really felt like it affected him as much as you would expect such a loss to, whereas when he lost Vesper and Casino Royale, I mean, that really struck a chord with Bond and left him pretty much the cold, detached badass that he is. And with Indiana Jones, the same thing can be said for him. He's pretty much a victim of status quo's God, except when it's not. But he is very much a pretty well-adjusted character. And while I like that about him and all that jazz, like he's played to perfection by Harrison Ford, and I love how he's a good man and all that. But I might lean a tad towards more to James Bond for the times when he does, get to display more layers to his character. He's not like your typical traditional good guy. He can be a bit of an ass sometimes, and isn't always the most. It's like I think M called him like a borderline misogynist at one point, and I'm like, that's I don't know, something about that is like you don't really.
Relevant to the Cold War.
Yeah, it's not something you would normally see in your typical action hero. I think that made him a tad more interesting than usual. Even though, like I said, it also made him an ass. But like I said, that kind of works because he's an agent that has to kill people on a daily basis. So you wouldn't expect him to be too much of a good guy, so to speak, unless Roger Moore is in the mix. In which case, he was a bit more on the silly side, and Dalton was as most people say, Timothy Dalton was kind of Daniel Craig before Daniel Craig came around, though he's not quite as successful, but. Overall, yeah, I'm giving this edge to James Bond. Just a bit more meat to the character, you could say, when that meat is actually applied. That sounded weird. Never mind. You know what I mean. Just move on.
Okay, oh my God. We don't need no more double. Okay. I don't think we had to, keep the double entendres to a minimum in this episode. Let me stop. But especially with Bond.
I thought Christmas only came once a year. That's still probably one of the worst James Bond puns ever.
I bet you like some more meat on your bone, Moneypenny.
You always did enjoy a good squeeze.
Oh my God! We hope we get those. The Bond franchise needs to get back on track because I love those kind of quips from the earlier movies. Oh, another area we'll be moving on to is the area of sidekicks. And you can say these characters have been paired with some interesting characters over the years. In the end, with Indy, you have Marion, you have Short Round. You have Sala, Marion was pretty much the tough, feisty heroine, the former lover of Indy. Who was not afraid to throw a punch. Who's pretty much capable of she can stand her own ground, basically. And Short Round was the spunky sky kid. He was very much likable and lovable in his own way. Was reliable when you needed him to. Basically a 10-year-old kid. People don't like Solo around that much, but Sala, he's loyal. He's very much. He very much is a true friend to Indy. He's there for him through thick and thin, especially Willie Scott. I'm gonna say more. I just gotta. Not needed, and of course, you have Indy with his father, and all the antics. Junior, it's Junior. Don't call me that, please. Who was played by a former James Bond, Sean Connery. Of course, I'm pretty sure most of you know that already. but Indy has had pretty much, some decent sidekicks over the years. But James Bond, yes, Q, yes, M, yes, Moneypenny, come on. Q pretty much got his back with all those fancy gadgets, and M, of course, is his superior, I always suppose there isn't very much a lot to his character, I guess, supposedly. But I think Judi Dench brought some interesting aspects to her end, when during her tenure in the series. And of course, Moneypenny and Ellie, they would, like I said, with the early installments of the series, wasn't doing really much, because of course she was, of course, occasionally flirting around with James Bond in the office and their little sexual tension and so forth and so on, But she got to do a little bit more, especially in Skyfall. She very much she was more than a help to Bond in that movie, even though we didn't get to know who she really was at the end of that movie, And she pretty much served her purpose, of course, in Skyfall. But as hard as it is, I'm going to have to, Jones comes close, but I have to lean more towards James Bond because those characters have become staples of the series, and become well defined, Of course, Ben, like I said, his Bond superior always keeps him in check, and Q, he has some kind of rivalry, even though he's kind of exasperated and with 007 whenever he brings back, whenever he tears his cars or messes up his gadgets, he can be quite irritable with him. And Moneypenny, of course, with her little flirtations with James Bond. So I'm gonna have to lean towards James Bond sidekicks. All right, Mike, what about you? Which character sidekicks you like more?
Well, yeah, I mean, between Han and Indy, I gave the edge to Indy because, yeah, I mean, between Sala, Short Round, Henry Jones Sr., Marcus Brody, he has a magnificent bunch of buddies to help him out. I gotta go for Bond for this one, though, as well. I mean, it is close because every time Sala is on board, played by John Rhys Davies, I love that character so much. And Sean Connery is the best, the best worst father, I guess.
Did I tell you to go around watching yours do your homework? No, I respect your privacy. I taught you self-reliance.
Oh, thank goodness. It was a fake. He's knocked him over the head with a vase, and then he's just, it was a fake.
Oh, he can be so absent-minded sometimes.
Exactly.
Yes.
But, I mean, with M was always a great, he was always kind of exasperated, but he was always kind of like, at least the M played by Bernard Lee from the initial Sean Connery's movies, he was always just like, oh, Bond. Da. But I mean, then when you got Judi Dench as M, that was a whole new character, and that was a character I loved every single moment she was on screen. She had a very unique relationship with her. Oh yeah, and I mean, when you saw her actually in action, I believe you saw her in action in one of the Pierce Brosnan movies.
It might have been Tomorrow Never Dies. Perhaps.
It might have been Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah, but I mean, then you also saw her in Skyfall, obviously, and she was just magnificent on a whole nother level. She almost, the scenes where she was in, she stole them from Bond. She was that good because I mean, dude, it's Judi Dench. But the thing that really pushes me over the top for Bond is Desmond Llewellyn as Q.
Oh my word.
Q, I mean,
so gross.
He was so wonderful because he didn't give Bond an inch. Like, put that down. Don't touch it.
I thought you joke about doing work. I never joke about
Yes, give me that. That's my lunch. I mean, he just played it with such exasperation, but always that sense of humor. I mean, he was a vision in his when he was on screen. It was brilliant, and it is so fitting that when he signed off, when he stopped playing Q, he died like a few months later. It's tragic, but it is so almost appropriate because he was that character. I mean, in every. I mean, I like the Q from the new movies. He's very cool. He's a great addition, but he's no Desmond Llewellyn. And like all the money pennies, they've been a mixed lot, but especially like the new one. Who was she?
Harris.
Yes, yeah, Naomi Harris. She and actually, I really like Samantha Bond from the Pierce Brosnan movies as well.
For me, I always will have a soft spot for Lois Maxwell. She defines.
Yes. I mean, yeah, she was the classic one. She always had that flirtatious, fun-loving. You could tell that they were banging on the fly. You knew it.
Yeah, she's pretty much jovial in her own way.
Yeah, but I mean, when we first saw Samantha Bond in GoldenEye, I thought she was a great Moneypenny. And then when they revealed Naomi Harris is actually Moneypenny, I thought that was great too. So just these consistent level of quality. I mean, I can think of a few Willies that James Bond has had, but and I freaking hate Willie Scott. I hate Willie Scott.
Yes, we know. We know how exasperated you are with her character.
And there have been a few for Bond. If you've ever seen Man with a Golden Gun, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Miss Goodnight.
Yeah, Very Good Night. Oh,
no, enough of Willie. Stacey Sutton from View to a Kill.
Yeah. He had his fair share of lame ass sidekicks, but I think when he had a good one, he had a really good one.
We shouldn't forget Felix Leiter, though.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. Felix Leiter was fantastic.
Yeah, like the 9 million versions of him.
Anyone counting that one in the 50s, Clarence Leiter.
I actually read that apparently the reason Felix Leiter was always changed every movie was because they were apparently afraid of giving him upstaging James or something like that.
Yeah, I think my favorite Felix Leiter was actually one of the more recent ones, Jeffrey Wright.
I like his, I mean, I always like Jack Lord. I mean, I like Jack Lord's portrayal in the first movie, though.
Jack Lord was a good one.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very much. Oh, so cool. All right, Colton. What about you? I mean, which character could you like most?
I might be a little biased here because when it comes to me and the James Bond franchise, I've seen only a handful of the movies all the way through. Only a small handful of the movies all the way through. Among the
I guess you'll get my license to kill. Oh my God.
I'm armed, Mike. I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh damn! He turned on his camera. Oh Lord.
Well, as I was saying, anyway, I've only seen a handful of the movies all the way through. Like I've seen GoldenEye all the way through. I've seen all the Brosnan, all the Craig films all the way through, except for I haven't gotten to Spectre yet, and what have you. So my knowledge, when it comes to me and the James Bond sidekicks, some of them I'm more attached to than others, and some I have more knowledge of than others, and what have you. But compared to me and Indiana Jones, which I've seen those movies all the way through more than multiple times, among other things. So I'm more versed in what those characters are like. But I would think I might have to give my vote. Might have to give my vote to James Bond.
Boys.
What was that?
Stop it!
Mine is bigger than yours.
Oh dear God! You had to go there. Oh my God. Oh, geez.
More double entendre. Okay, what?
Mine's longer.
This is positively shocking.
Okay, what was I saying again? All right, I'm going with Indiana Jones mainly because I feel like with a lot of the James Bond side films, I feel like they're more kind of consistent. I guess you could say like whenever they're there, they're usually there to. Whenever they're there, they're usually there to actually be a part of the movie. Whereas a lot of times with the James Bond supporting characters, from what I've seen, sometimes they're just there because they exist in the franchise, and sometimes they'll be more important in other movies. Like the Craig series, we got Moneypenny was pretty cool in that, and Skyfall. I liked what they did with Q there, but I also liked the few times I saw Q and the previous James Bond movies before he was rebooted, and among other things. And yeah, Judi Dench as M. She was awesome, among other things, which is why I was so sad when she had to step down, among other things. But well, she wasn't getting any younger, so they had to give the character a good send off, among other things, in Skyfall. This is a hard one, I think, also because the fact that the James Bond franchise is littered with legacy characters and different actors giving different actors playing the same person, that sometimes it's hard to get a clear pinpoint on what. Like, there's like nothing really consistent about some of the characters. Like some of them, like I said, with Felix Leiter, with the exception of License to Kill, he was played by License to Kill, and the Craig series, he was played by a different guy every film, and like I said, there are multiple Moneypennies, several Qs, and what have you. So with Indiana Jones, the characters we knew what we were getting every time we saw them show up, among other things. Well, for the ones that came back for more than one film. So yeah, my vote, if amongst my rambling, my vote goes to Indiana Jones for this one.
Indy. Shocking.
Yes, Indy.
Shocking. Positively shocking.
I mean, you can't. I mean, you just can't. Also, you just can't beat Sean Connery playing the bumbling dad, you know. And of course, Indy also has like one of the best sidekick lines ever. Asps, very, very dangerous. You go first.
Oh my goodness! I was like, so John Rhys Davies is cash back at that role. All right, very, very, very good. Very good reasons. Very, very good reasons. All right, moving on to musical themes. Both of these characters have been blessed with composers to give these characters a musical identity that are as iconic as the characters themselves. You know, when the James Bond series was created back and was brought to the screen back in '62 with Dr. No. And I'm pretty sure, you know, they had to search through far and wide to find the right composer, you know, to give this character the musical identity he so deserves. And they found it in Monty Norman. You know, he composed the James Bond theme, you know, that kind of dark, mysterious, dangerous piece of music, you know, that permeates, you know, for the whole franchise, has become a signature. It very much defines the character. It pretty much says, man, you're gonna go. I don't want to say he's a character you will feel safe with, but around him, you're gonna go. It's gonna be quite a ride. It's gonna be quite a ride. I mean, traveling with James Bond and all the journeys he undertakes, you know, as a secret agent. But you know, it's pretty much. Even though John Barry's the name kind of most synonymous with the series, it's Monty Norman, who just without that theme, you know, James Bond wouldn't be where it is today. And of course, you have, you know, Indiana Jones with with the Raiders March by John Williams. John Williams is one of the best composers ever. You know, Jaws, Star Wars, Close Encounters, Superman, everything. You know, to be that kind of melodramatic, that kind of grand, sweeping piece of music. You know, you know, Who doesn't know that? Who doesn't know that piece of music? I mean, who doesn't know? Who you'll be far embarrassed to find a person. I mean, you can't. There's nobody. I'm pretty sure there's people around the world who know that and hum that when that's played, they know that instantly. You know, because there were two versions of the Raiders theme. You know, when John Williams played the music to Steven Spielberg, he played the first one, do 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 do, and then he played them the second version, like do 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 do. Of course, they came up to form the Raiders March, and in a sense going on, it's just like it is so synonymous with the character. It's just like this great symphonic, and then it's just great symphonic masterpiece where John Williams just screams adventure, and it's just like it's so very much a part of the character, and it would be poor if he didn't compose it. Another tough choice to lean towards. With me, I'm gonna have to say Indy. I love the Raiders March. I mean, I just love them. Whenever I hear it, it's just like I just want to go out and beat Indiana Jones. I want to crack that bullet. I want to go to Zalo Castle. I want to go on some adventures. I want to go treasure. I want to go. I want it's just like something about it's something about this rousing theme, just something that just awakens something with you, and it's intoxicating, to say the least. So for me, in terms of theme music, it's gotta be Indy. All right, Mike, what about you? Which theme music do you lean towards?
They are both so iconic. I mean, the James Bond, like that's like very 60s style, like just jazz guitar type playing, but and then you get the pianos, the da 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 da. I mean, it is fantastic. But then you've got the the Indiana Jones theme. That is just amazing. I mean, it's I mean,
I know it's tough.
It is hard. If you just take just the main theme, that's one thing. But I mean, James Bond has had a lot of. I mean, they always have a signature song that plays over the main theme, and the only problem with that is those are very hit or miss. I mean, for every Golden Eye you have, which is a fantastic song, you've got the Man with the Golden Gun by Lulu.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's bad. I mean, I mean, for every Thunderball, you've got
Another Way to Die.
Yeah, and what was that one by the Madonna? Die Another Day. Oh God, I don't know what they were smoking when they thought of that one. Yeah, I mean,
I actually like Die Another Day, to be honest.
Okay, no, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Yeah, anyway.
That requires a license to kill. I need my license. Yeah, you can do it all you want. But you're not going to do it.
But, yeah, I mean, the main theme is the main score, the James Bond theme is fantastic. The general scores for most of the films are, in general, not too bad. The opening themes, though, are so up and down and so inconsistent. Whereas with Indiana Jones, you've got John Williams. And John Williams never does anything other than excellent. I mean, I can't think of a single score of his that I have not absolutely adored. So just for that level of consistency and the pure iconicness of the Indiana Jones March, the Raiders March, I got to give it to John Williams in the Indiana Jones.
Well said, Mike. Well said. All right, Colton, what about you? Which musical theme do you prefer overall?
Which musical do I prefer overall? It's a good question. Like all these questions, you know. If we were just talking strictly main themes, the main Indiana Jones theme and the main Bond theme, then I would actually give it to James Bond because, while I love the Bond theme, I love the Indiana Jones theme. It's a very uplifting theme that whenever you hear it, you're about to go on a big adventure and all that jazz. I kind of like how they sort of be applied to different sort of moods, I guess you could say. Like sometimes it's just your standard 60s thing, but sometimes it can actually sound pretty epic actually. Like during Casino Royale, where after at the very end of the movie when James Bond it says, "Mr. Wright, we need to talk," and then he shoots the guy. Then as we hear the Bond theme starting to play, we see James start stepping into the frame. That really made him seem. That was a very badass way to actually apply the Bond theme. You're like thinking James Bond has officially arrived, among other things. But if we're going with the rest of Indiana Jones and James Bond's music, then I might have to actually give it to Indiana Jones by virtue of the fact that I can actually recall some of the other some of the other aspects of the Indiana Jones score compared to James Bond. Like when it comes to him, when it comes to James Bond and music, the one thing people will remember is the songs played during the opening theme and the James Bond main score and the James Bond main theme, and that's about it. And like Mike said, the opening songs are like of a varying degree of quality. Sometimes they're very awesome, sometimes they're forgettable, sometimes they're awful.
Inconsistent.
Among other things. So in this case, I'm going with of course, that's like also a virtue of them just having far more movies than Indiana Jones. But like I said, the fact that I really can't recall any other aspects of the main score in a James Bond movie outside of the main theme, I'm going with Indiana Jones in this one.
All right. It's nice words, Colton. It's nice words. Okay, next topic we're going to cover in this match. We're going to cover love interest versus pretty much. Indiana Jones. I wouldn't say he's a ladies' man like James Bond, but he is an attractive man. I mean, I'm not trying to hit on him. I'm not gay or anything, but he is an attractive man. He has had his fair share of women, and there's some pretty interesting characters. If you ask me, they're pretty inconsistent, But there's Mary, like I said, she's television, she's strong, she's feisty, she's independent, and she was very much a match for him, She pretty much completed him. And for for a couple of installments after that, they kind of suffered. I would say suffered, but let's just say her presence was very much missed. But the likes of Willie Scott, a spoiled, vain, self-centered, kind of stereotypical. I wouldn't say stereotypical. I don't know, but she's kind of a bitch, basically. Let me say like that.
You're your stereotypical damsel in distress, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. She did try to punch one of the thuggy. She did punch one of the thuggy Coles. She still gets on my fucking nerves. Short round, the indie track in the room with the spikes, coming up on top of the floor and the bottom of the floor. She's all like, she's like getting in the room. She's like, I don't want to touch you. And he's like, you have to touch the lever, the ant that opens the door. I don't want to touch it. It's like, we're not at the fucking salon. Pull the damn lever. What the fuck? You only worry about your hair and stuff. You don't know what I'm crying about your nails. It's like, who gives a shit? Pull the damn lever. And I know James Bond has had his fair share with Willis, as Mike said. Just like a loud, shrieking, irritable characters. Just insufferable. And Elsa, she was an interesting character. She had some considerable charm to her until she found out she was a Nazi.
And she slept with his dad.
Yes. Very awkward, very complicated scenario there. So not much in the way of love interest for Indiana Jones, but though he did marry Marion, and and they have a child, which Indy was not aware that he existed, but still we managed to know about that in the end. And like I said, Indy and Marion tied the knot.
They better still be married to Indiana Jones 5, Steven Spielberg, or else.
Calm down, Colton. Calm down. I'm gonna have to send you to the Wall of Souls. Let me stop. Okay, but James Bond, he's got it made. He's got the clothes, got the bolt, the top, and got the tie, the tux, the vodka martinis, the cars. Who doesn't want to be him? He had his fair share of women. Honey Rider, Pussy Galore, Vesper Lind.
On the top.
Huh? Oh, Zenly on the top.
Oh, that's how you pronounce her name. Xena on the top.
Should I mention Christmas Jones?
No, let's not. Yes. For the sake of our sanity.
Yes, Paris.
Bad puns.
Paris Carver. Oh my. But yeah, James Bond. The dude is a gentleman spy. He's cool. Like I said, he's cool, suave, sophisticated. He can charm any woman. He just like I said, who doesn't want to be James Bond? He doesn't want to be James Bond. I mean, come on. I always say Roger Moore had the kind of gentleman part of James Bond nailed down. That aspect of him didn't really come until he arrived in the series. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Roger Moore's portrayal, but he has some good aspects. But I think that started with him. But I mean, I would say Bond isn't as rugged as Indy, but he can be, he can be a little rough, especially with the ladies, especially in that scene with Russia with Love, with he's slapping Tatiana. It's like you're trying to get the information about the lecture, but he still has that charisma. He still has that edge, that style. I mean, it's just like, he's just, he's no doubt, James, can, in terms of female love interest, can sweep them off their feet, So of course it's gotta be Bond. There's no contest. Mike, what about you? Who do you choose?
Yeah, I mean, in the Han Solo versus Indiana Jones competition, there were like one or two. There was no contest.
Mm-hmm. This
one is a no contest. It is obviously Bond. I mean, don't get me wrong. Dang. What was her name? Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Marion.
Yeah. Marion was fantastic. She was a strong female character. She was an appropriate equal to Indy, and she was absolutely worth it. Elsa is what you would definitely call a femme fatale. She's definitely great to look at, but she's a Nazi. That kind of trumps a lot of things. And Willie Scott. I hate Willie Scott. Yeah, I mean, Bond, granted, Bond's conquests, as shall we say, are very hit or miss in general. I mean, you start off with Honey Rider, Ursula Andress.
Mm-hmm.
But you've also got, like, I'm just going down the list here. Yeah, Mary Goodnight. Monumentally stupid woman. And I think, I'm not being sexist here, she was stupid. She set off the Doomsday Machine with her ass.
Well, thankfully I never saw that movie.
It was a fine-looking ass, don't get me wrong, but no. And I mean, you had Diana Rigg as Teresa De Vincenzo on Her Majesty's Secret Service, gorgeous. But you had Dr. Christmas Jones, played by Denise Richards. Who the hell keeps giving Denise Richards jobs? I mean, she's not a good actress. Yeah, and I mean,
Tiffany Case.
you know what? I wasn't a fan of Halle Berry's Jinx either.
I don't think anybody was.
No. And you know, even where was it?
Frankie O'Toole.
Terry Hatcher's character.
Paris Carver.
Yeah, from Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah, Paris Carver. Yeah, she didn't care for it. Didn't care for her.
She didn't last either.
Yeah, exactly. But for every one of those, you do have Vesper Lind, Eva Green. Yeah. You've got.
Don't forget Natalia.
Yeah, Natalia Simonova from GoldenEye. Gorgeous woman. And a genius, actually. She was definitely heads or tails smarter than Bond. I didn't mind Holly Goodhead. She didn't offend me. Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, Teresa de Vincenzo.
Tracy.
And of course, the Bond girl to top all Bond girls, Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming.
It's Pussy Galore. Yeah. Hands down the winner right there. So yeah, absolutely. Bond.
Who names their daughter Pussy? I mean, just what the hell?
I have a feeling that she probably took that as a nickname. But in any case, yeah, I mean, for Bond, the Bond girls that work far outnumber the Bond girls that don't work, at least in my opinion. So, and yeah, I mean, there's just a much wider range than Indiana Jones's 4. No, 3. Yeah, 3. So yeah, I mean, it's a landslide. Bond, absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, Colton. What about you? Who do you think wins overall?
Well, as again, due to the fact that there's like 20-something James Bond movies, we have
24 movies.
What?
24 movies.
Given that we have 24 movies to choose from, we are obviously going to see there's going to be a lot of varying quality between Bond girls, between awful, awesome, and hey, they're just there, but they don't really do any damage. Compared to Indiana Jones, where the Bond girls were all So the Indiana Jones were the love interests, were all the love interests were pretty much front and center in the movies. But I'm giving this one to James Bond for one reason. Willie Scott was like deliberately. I think it's pretty much on record that they more or less. I mean, the fact that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were having relationship woes is basically what gave birth to Willie Scott. And I'm thinking, how fucking petty do those guys have to be to have to deliberately write a woman that bad because they were? I mean, you can be more professional than that, gentlemen. Okay. It's not a case of them just not being good at romance. They deliberately were trying to get back at their love. Were they married or was it just the people that they were with?
No, he hadn't. Spielberg hadn't married. What's her name yet? Yeah, I think they were together, but I don't think they were married yet.
No.
The fact that they were getting back, they were deliberately getting back at their significant others by making Willie as deliberately as unlikable as possible is just. Like, I could ordinarily let this sort of thing go because it's not easy, but since this was like more or less them being as petty as possible, this goes to James Bond. No ifs, ands, or buts.
All right. Very good.
Like I said, I love Marion to death and all that jazz, but and Elsa, she was a good film fatale and all that jazz, and Willie, I'd say, hey, you can't win them all, but they weren't trying to win in her case. They just did a bad job on purpose. So James Bond is the winner.
Okay, no dispute. Okay, all right, good. Very good, Colton. Very good. Okay, moving on to our final matchup of the evening. It's the set of skills that these characters have acquired. All right. So with Indiana Jones, like I say, he's professor of archaeology. He's a scholar of history, like a scholar. And basically, he's a he's a historian. Like I said, he goes after various supernatural artifacts. He's very much versed. He's very much, that's that one of his greatest weapons is very much his mind. Very much. He uses it with his vast knowledge of history and archaeology. You can't dispute against that. And of course, he also has that. He also has that bullwhip. Which he's quite painful with. And of course, me as a man who travels the world, like James Bond, he very much speaks several different tongues. He's very much. And like I said, you expect with a man like Indy, especially with the knowledge that he has. He recognizes different cultures, history, so forth and so on. He can't just kid. I don't know if he can contend with Bond. I guess this is good. I mean, like I said, Bond's a trained spy. I mean, like I said, and also like Indy, he speaks several different foreign languages. Like with the accent about Bond, and he's a lethal marksman. He's a guy who can make love to a woman and kill somebody within a second. He has some pretty cool kills. I mean, especially like especially in the first Bond, when he killed one of Dr. No's henchmen. It's like, what's wrong? Man, he's just like so detached, and he did so effortlessly. It's like I don't give a care. But also, Indy's a little flimsy on the combat side of things, and also so going back to Bond and his marksmanship, I don't think he can equal. I don't think Indy can equal that. Especially in the first half of Casino Royale, it's like dude doesn't. I don't say he doesn't give a shit, but he's just like he has to have that detachment to his job. He's just like pulls it off so skillfully. Definitely, I get it. Another hard. I mean, you may have different opinions for me, but for me, it's harder. For me, I'm gonna have to get. For me, it's a tie. I mean, because like I said, Indy, with that knowledge of history, like I said, with this, like I said, one of the great weapons is the brain. That brain of his, I don't think. Yeah. He, like I said, with Indy, he may not. He can definitely throw a punch, definitely, but he may not be as skilled in Bond in terms of combat. But I think these two are pretty much eye for tie for me. For something, I had to give the edge to both of them. All right, Mike. What about you? Who do you give the edge overall to in terms of skills?
This one's tough. I mean, Indy is absolutely the smarter of the two.
Right.
I mean, he's a professor of archaeology. He knows multiple languages, including several that are no longer spoken anymore, which is a feat in itself. Yeah. He can read multiple ancient languages, and he's damn fine with that bullwhip. He is a good shot, and he is a very skilled fighter. I mean, how many people has he taken out with those meat slammers of his fists?
Mm-hmm. In the end, Jensen Last Crusade when he's on that tank.
Oh, dude, yeah, he is not too shabby at fisticuffs, that's for sure. Bond speaks a lot of languages as well. He's shown to be very adept at learning Russian, Italian, French, etc. He is an expert driver.
Oh yeah.
He is an absolute great shot. I wouldn't say he's the best shot out there, but he's definitely a hell of a lot better than I would be. But the thing is, Bond is also a super spy. And you don't become a super spy and don't get a license to kill if you don't have a certain level of skill sets.
Yes.
I mean, he's been shown to be very adept at disabling nuclear devices. He's pretty good at dealing with bombs. He's dealt with more monstrous henchmen than Indy could ever hope to face.
Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws, Odd Job. Yeah. So I mean, Indy is smarter, absolutely, but purely for the fact that James Bond is a super spy, which entails a level of skill and sophistication that Professor of Archaeology doesn't quite match. I'm gonna have to give the edge to James Bond. Like I said, like you said, both are really good. Both are very, very similar. But it's just that super spy logo just gives Bond an edge for me.
All right. Very good. Some good points there, Mike. Some good points for what you said. Colton, what about you? Who would you lean towards their skill set?
It's like we said, Indy is definitely the smarter of the two. Like when we saw him in the opening of Raiders, when he manages to get by all those booby traps, he did so with a pretty cool head, among other things, and the way he had the foresight to try and when he went for the idol and had this foresight to actually dump some of the dirt out of the bag to sort of help him out a little bit. That's something most characters probably wouldn't think to do, and you really believe that was actually part of Indy's character. And yeah, he's not too shabby in the fights. He's gotten in his fair share of brawls. He's always, and sometimes they don't always go his way, but you know that. What?
I said, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we all know that he's gonna make it through in the end. Like when he was fighting that giant mechanic in Raiders, he's like, okay, grief, but he still manages to take him down in the end. Well, a combination of him winning and Marion turning the plane in that guy's direction was what clinched the victory and all that. But yeah, Indy's smarts are definitely a way more iconic part of the character, whereas with Bond, one could say he has an unfair advantage of being a fucking super spy, so of course he's going to know how to do a lot of things. But I also feel like James's skill sets, if there's one thing I had to give it a strike for, it would be that it's almost kind of gimmicky at times,
Really? You think?
Are you being serious or sarcastic?
Maybe both. I mean, no, not both. Maybe be sarcastic.
Okay, I mean, everything we know about James. I mean, there's a lot about James that almost anyone can know. Just if you said anything to James, like a lot of people are going to say, he's very good with women. He drives cool cars and all that jazz. The various gadgets and gizmos and what have you. I mean, the various gadgets and gizmos and yada yada. Sometimes that just feels to get thrown in just to make James look as cool and unrelatable as possible, among other things, whereas Indy pretty much just keeps it, where Indy's skill set is kept to what. Of course, this is also a factor of, James just popping up through having 24 films over several decades and what have you, so of course he's going to change over the course of each story and whatnot, where depending on like what decade or what's big and whatnot, whereas Indy, he stayed true to the character type he was modeled after. But at the same time, though, James and his skills are still badass and what have you. So, despite what I just said about the slightly gimmicky nature of his skill sets, it's still something that I enjoy seeing whenever I see him in action. So, yeah, I'm gonna give this one to James.
Okay. It seems like. It's just like for me, we'll put up the rundown. In terms of character personality, I chose both of these characters. For sidekicks, I lean toward Bond, theme music, Indy, love interest, Bond, of course, skills, both. I mean, for me, it's a tie. I mean, I love both of these characters. I just can't seem to choose. I can't seem to choose. I seem to have a hard time choosing. Colton, What do you choose overall in terms of which is the better?
Who I choose overall? Like I said, let's see here. I went with Bond first for character, then what were the categories again?
Character, personality, sidekicks, theme music, and love interest and skills.
Yeah, I think I went more towards Bond overall, and well, like I said, he has a bit of an unfair advantage of 24 movies, but also and the character type he is, but I still think Indy is a great character himself. Like his shortcomings don't really like some of the shortcomings he has compared to James don't like make his character any less fun or relatable. I guess it just comes with the fact that
like he has an abundance. Like he has an abundance of shortcomings.
What?
Yeah, like he has an abundance of shortcomings.
No, he does not have an abundance of shortcomings.
When you see him like he's like I don't know. I wish I had a wall for PBK right now. Because I love both of these characters.
I wish I had a. I guess it's just like I said. Indy is far more a victim of status quo as God, except when it's not, compared to James Bond, where sometimes we'll get a heavy story arc, sometimes we'll have a fun romp, and sometimes we'll get something in between. Whereas Indy is usually has more of a fun factor, where with an occasional pretty deep story element, like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, among other things.
Mm.
But if I could pick both of them in the end, I would. But there can be only one in this case, so I'm going with James for this one.
Understood, Colton. Understood. Okay, all right, Mike. What about you? Who do you choose overall?
Well, I definitely aim more towards Bond for the categories. This is tough. The Indiana Jones movies I always have fun with. Even something that is like, shall we say, mixed at best, like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, there were still moments of that movie that I had fun, that I did feel the glimmer of the old Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are only 4 of them, but 2 of them are really good quality. 3 of them, one of them is...
3 of them are really good quality.
I don't know. I got to knock Temple of Doom a lot for
I like Temple of Doom.
Who Shall Not Be Named.
No, oh, God.
James Bond movies, I like a lot of them. There are a decent handful that I would not prefer to watch regularly.
Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah, well, Man with the Golden Gun isn't too bad. Octopussy is not the best of the films. And A View to a Kill is almost unwatchable.
Mayday. That's all I gotta say. Mayday.
Yeah. But there are enough of the films that I do like a lot that and just purely for the fact that it's been around since 1963 as opposed to 1980, 82, 81?
81 Raiders, 62 for
and
Bond.
Yeah, and 4 movies versus 24 movies, purely because there's more to choose from, and there are more highs than lows, in my opinion. Some of my earliest memories are seeing James Bond movies with my dad. Those are always going to be like special memories for me. So, yeah, I tend to lean a little bit more towards Bond. But you put either movie in front of me, I am not going to be disappointed. Well, I'm not going to be generally disappointed anyway, for the most part. Unless it's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and A View to a Kill. Then I'll be disappointed.
But it's funny how James Bond almost got his life. That Indiana Jones originally got his life started as Harrison Ford, as George Lucas pitching the idea to Steven Spielberg as a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if that actually worked out. We're all glad it didn't work out because we got another badass iconic character out of the deal.
Roger Moore is old enough to be Tanya Roberts' grandfather, and there was supposed to be a love interest. No,
he's getting a little long in the tooth there. Oh my god.
Oh, and and then you had Grace Jones.
Like I said, Mayday. I mean,
this is what happens when you play James Bond for way too long. So maybe it was a good thing that Daniel Craig got out when he did. I mean, how old is he now?
I think he's like 48 or something.
It seems like he's older. I mean, when I saw Skyfall, I mean, it looked even though that was his third movie, it looked like he had been at this for like way longer than he should have been. Even though that was actually part of the story, but still.
If there was any truth to the rumor that Sony was willing to pay him $150 million to come back as Bond, then Sony is dumber than I thought, because that is, I mean, one, no movie actor is worth that much money, not for 2 films. $75 million, no. And
there's only one word to say about that: desperation.
Yeah, I mean, and 2, dude, if Daniel Craig does not want to be James Bond anymore, as he's been very, very vocal about, don't make him be James Bond.
You kind of froze there, Mike. What did you say?
If Daniel Craig is as unhappy about being Bond anymore, as if he doesn't want to be Bond anymore, as he's been very vocal about, then don't make him be James Bond. If the actor is not happy playing the character, what do we get? We got Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique in X-Men Apocalypse.
Ooh.
And do you want to see James Bond do that for 2 movies?
No, not really. No.
That's almost the equivalent of sleepwalking, I guess.
Exactly. I don't want to see James Bond sleepwalk.
I heard some people say that he actually I heard some people say that he actually did sleepwalk through Spectre.
You know what? That's actually the only James Bond movie I have not seen yet. I own it. I just never bothered to get around to it because I've heard mixed things about it.
Yeah, I see that.
That's why I've been like kind of putting off watching it also.
Yeah.
It had potential, but a lot of ways of bad ideas. It seemed confused more so than other things. It was just like the fact that you had to try to build up, 3 other continuity works of 3 other films. No, we want to tie it into those other films. No, wise choice. No.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get around to seeing it eventually. It's just right now I have no enthusiasm for it right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to scare you any further, but it should have been as good. It should have been a lot more than what we were given.
Yeah.
Lea Seydoux, Monica Bellucci. So how she is. I know. Yeah, but like I said, not a very good movie. Yeah. So both of you choose Bond, right?
I leaned a little bit more towards Bond, yes.
Overall, yes.
Understandable. I mean, it was tough for me because I love both. So for me, it's a tie. Just like last week with Indy and Han and Indy, they both win. Okay, that was our show. That was our show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. It was another great episode talking about another match between 2 cultural icons. Especially it's great talking about. It's especially great. We've been wanting to do something like this for some time now. It was very, definitely. Next week we will be talking about our top 10 installments in movie franchises. So make sure we check out for that. And this has also been a particularly good show. It was so fun to do it, and I had a great time with the people doing it with me tonight. Mike, my friend, it is a pleasure doing this with you.
My name is Mike Gulick. I host Geek Salad. And it's always great to be here.
Okay, good. That's great. Not a bad Bond impression. All right, Colton, it was a pleasure.
I'm Colton. I'm Hunt. Colton Hunt.
You said it in the first half. Don't repeat it.
And I host Point, short and to the point.
Well, I mean, if you like, I can do my Sean Connery impression. Oh, that's very nice, Moneypenny. How'd you like to shut on my Walter PPK?
Shut up, James.
It's something there. Yes, it's my gun. It is loaded.
Nice one. I thought Christmas only came once a year, Moneypenny.
No, we're not saying that pun, okay? Seriously, who the hell came up with ending the movie with a pun that...
retard!
I don't know. For me, that pun is just so bad. It's funny. It's funny in like the worst possible way. It's like watching a really, really bad movie. You know it's terrible, but you gotta laugh at it.
Yeah. It almost put me into shock whenever the first time I heard it.
I will admit the sketch that Robot Chicken did based on that did get a lot more was to kind of make the pun worth it. Where it's like, hey, we kept making Christmas jokes, and she's like, okay, I get it. It's like, okay, time to dick your holes. She's like, oh, all right, because of my name. I hope you're thinking of a white Christmas. Wait a second, I'm not on the pill, James.
Yeah, that pun was better though than Denise Richards' acting.
Oh yeah.
Whatever happened to Denise Richards?
Nobody cares at this point.
Nice. Oh my goodness. Yes. There will be a lump of coal for you. Let me stop. Yeah, I said that was our show. Like I said, next week we'll be talking about our top 10 installments for in movie franchises. Hope you'll check out for that. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is C.M. Miller. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
My name is Miller, Chris Miller. Let me start. I got it. No. All right. Good night, everybody. Goodbye.